Alright, so here's my Mazda Miata. And you can see here I have the original battery back in here. Or the lead battery, I should say. Not the original battery, but the lead battery back in. So I took out the anti-gravity, was it ATC or ATX-30, whatever it was called. So it died out. I had it for 2 years and it died out. There was several occasions where I had problems with it. Basically, in triple degree heat. Anytime I was in triple degree temperature, uh, and I drive it around, the battery just died out during those occasions. So anytime there was a heat wave, it would die out. Or if I would drive to the out to the desert, uh, out into the desert, was triple degrees, it would die out. Remember, lithium batteries, they don't charge well, or they don't. You're not supposed to charge them, or or you probably use them, but you're not supposed to charge them. If I can remember right, below freezing, and also above, I think it was 140 degrees or something like that. Uh, so when it's triple degrees temperatures, and you're driving, especially if you're driving for more than an hour, where everything in the engine bay gets heat soaked. In the engine bay it gets hot. There were times where I measured I had a thermostat, infrared thermostat, and I measured the battery. It was like 150 degrees, or so, or even more, and that heat setting, the battery can't charge. If you do try to charge it, it's no good. It might possibly damage the batteries. A lithium battery. Uh, so during those occasions, the battery neither didn't charge, or wasn't really able to charge because it was too hot, or it basically tried to charge because the alternator is running, and it damaged it. So if it didn't charge, uh, it still got damaged because I was driving during that time, and if it didn't charge, as you're running it, yeah, sure, your alternator is running, but at the same time, the alternator usually on its own, it's not enough energy, especially when it's real hot and you have everything running. You have the AC, got the AC running full blast, have the radio blast in, you're charging your phone, whatever, etc., etc. All these different energy consumption items. It will possibly drain the battery as well. So when you drain the battery, in outside of its heat range, draining or charging it outside of its heat range, it doesn't, lithium batteries don't do very well. So, anyways, so I think those were the reasons why it had a short life. So basically, it was only 2 years. So I had it for 2 years. I bought the battery back in 2018, summertime. I think it August or July or August, summertime, and it died out in when did it die out? It died out at the beginning of September. Yeah, it died out around the beginning of September. Um, so basically, just over 2 years. But also that battery, it had a lot of cold cranking amps or cranking amps, but it doesn't have a lot of amp hours. It doesn't have much reserve. Versus the lead acid battery, it has a lot less cranking amps, but it has a lot more amp hours, so a lot more reserved. So it's better for for a vehicle use. So the anti-gravity battery is good for if you want really lightweight and you're racing, and you care about your time, and you care about saving every pound, to get better handling, because the battery is in front of the axle, and this battery here, this lead battery here is, I think, 25, maybe even 30 pounds. So around 25, 30 pounds. Whereas the anti-gravity battery, that battery is probably only about 5 or just over 5 pounds. So I easily save like 20 pounds, easily, 20 pounds less. So that does make a difference. And when I first put it in, I did notice it. It was very, very small, minute noticeable difference, but I did notice it. But I only noticed it when I drove really hard, really fast. Uh, Under normal driving, I didn't notice it, but when I was driving really hard and really fast, I noticed a little bit of a difference in the weight. Barely though, just barely. And most people probably can't tell. I think I'm a little bit more sensitive to a certain, to feeling certain things, So I think I've always had that that gift, if you will. So anyways, so yeah, so I got that battery. It died, and I I emailed Anti-Gravity to see what they could do, and they say okay, ship it back to them. So I shipped it back to them, and that shipping was like $20, I think it was. Kind of expensive, but it was $20. And they looked it over and they said, okay, uh, we could give you uh, credit on another battery. If you buy another battery. So basically, they said they would give me 40% credit on that battery if I buy the same battery. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask them if I could buy a different battery, because now and more recently they've come out with actual automotive size batteries. So they I just saw that they have the because this battery here, this battery is a 51R, I believe. The size is 51R. So they actually have a 51R battery, uh, lithium. So I'm gonna ask them if I get the discount, uh, and if I buy that battery instead of the one that I sent in. So I haven't emailed them back yet and asked them yet, but I'm pretty sure that they could do it. But anyways, again, the lithium battery, it's good for racing and such, but for everyday daily use, I do not recommend it. At least not in that capacity. Not that amp hour is not enough. Amp hour is not enough. And the other thing you have to be concerned about is temperature. If you're outside its usable temperature range, basically if you're freezing or lower, and also above, I think it's 140 or so degrees, maybe 130, something like that. It's no good. You can't use it. If you do try to use it, you try to charge it, it'll get damaged, or you try to use it, it doesn't really want to work. uh, so yeah, so back to the lead acid batteries. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to ask him about the getting the 51R size, see if they can give me a discount on that one. And I would try that and see how that works, and hopefully that lasts longer, because that battery is the same size as this, so obviously it's gonna be bigger and it has more amp hours, so it should last longer. So with the other battery, when you have just low capacity, small amp hours, as it gets used, it runs through its capacity. As you go run out of capacity and fill up and stuff, and let the battery can only go so many cycles. Same thing with the lead acid; it can only go so many cycles. But since the lead acid has such a much bigger reserve of amp hours, you don't have to go through as many cycles basically. So if this one goes through, say, one cycle, that lithium battery that I had, it would have to go through like 2 or 3 cycles to be equivalent to this, in the reserve power. So for every one time that this thing gets drained down and back up again as one cycle, the other one would use like 2 or 3. Let's say 3. I think it's closer to three times difference in reserve. So basically, if this battery has 1,000 cycles, the other one, it's basically, if I use up 1,000 cycles on this battery, the other one I would probably use up like 3,000 cycles. So basically, that's kind of like its life, more or less, right? I don't know what the exact cycle is for the that battery that I sent back, but anyways, so all those things, all those combinations of things, is what shortened the life of that battery, because that battery wasn't meant for a car. It was meant for it's basically meant for like a ATV, or like a really big motorcycle, like a big touring motorcycle, like a Goldwing or a big Harley or something like that. Those big touring motorcycles, they have very big batteries, almost not quite as big as a car, but pretty close. Same thing with ATVs. So yeah, so that was kind of a disappointment, and also the anti-gravity, that new 51R size battery, it's like a lot more expensive. It's like a couple $100 more compared to the one that I returned, the ATC or ATX 30 that I returned, that I shipped back. So I'm not. So even if anti-gravity gives me the credit, I am not sure if I want to buy another one because that's a lot of money, you know. And I'm not racing, you know. So I have, you know, I would here I'm, you know, when I was a cyclist, I was, you know, in cycling we have a terminology for folks like me. We would call it or we would refer to as weight weenies. So I still have that weight weenie tendency. So I do that with my motorcycles, and I do that when obviously with this car as well. So I'm kind of a weight weenie. That's why I got. That's one of the reasons why I got it. Um, so again, I don't know if I want to spend that kind of money on something that, you know, I'm not competing or anything like that. I'm not even doing autocross, nothing. You know, I'm just driving in the mountains, in the canyons, and that's it. Um, so yeah, so it probably wouldn't be worth it. You know, economically, it's not. It won't be worth it. But you know, but again, I do have that weight weenie tendency. So I might get it, I might not. But we'll see. If I get one, you'll see another video. If I don't, then you won't. All right. So thanks for watching.